Start.
Yeah.
Tough first half for you, 1 for 10 in the first half, but then 6 for 8 in the second half, including the 10 points that put you from behind up in front. Just what was your mentality at halftime?
Yeah, I mean, I was obviously frustrated, but I was getting good looks, and I think it's just kind of part of getting back in a rhythm after being injured. It's kind of part of it. You don't really usually just pick up where you left off. There's a little bit of a process of how does this feel? What shots am I getting? Like, what level am I at right now, especially taking contact? That's kind of been the hardest part. And at halftime, I was able to see, like, all right, I'm good. And I got to just take a deep breath, settle, and was able to come into that second half. And thankfully, kind of stayed aggressive because it helped us. You know, kind of was able to see the ball go through, hit some shots, able to get to the free throw line, and just kind of play my game. I mean, I feel like my stat line ended up being what it normally is. It just didn't look great in the first half, but I think that's kind of part of my growth is understanding it's like a long game, and it felt good to kind of get back into rhythm from, you know, obviously playing 3 games not healthy.
And you really feed off of this home crowd. Feels like they kind of push you when you're kind of in that rhythm. Do you prefer to play here or on the road where you also sometimes feed off of some of the negative noise around you?
I mean, I feed off of both. It's always fun going into an opposing arena. Like, that fires me up as well. But obviously, I think for our group, it's been huge to be able to be home. You know, I think fighting adversity on the road, being on the road for as long as we have, I feel like it's kind of this energy back at home now is what we've needed. I think the crowd understands we're kind of down bodies and down people, and they kind of willed us today to go on the run that we did. It was back to being the usual loud crowd that we're used to here, and it's kind of the beauty of being able to play home.
So speaking of the contact and physicality you mentioned, Coach Brondello wanted to see more physicality and grit out there today. How did that manifest in a game like this, especially during the comeback?
Yeah, I mean, I think there were kind of ebbs and flows. Sometimes we were aggressive, sometimes we weren't, but then you're able to see when we kind of buckled down and got stops. We were kind of the aggressors on the defensive end, flying out, contesting, rebounding, blocking shots, then being able to go, and that's when we kind of made our run offensively in transition. So, you know, I think understanding defense kind of fuels our offense, and I was proud of the way that we fought, especially we kind of were down 10, and then out of nowhere we were up 10. Or it was just like a crazy 5-minute run for us, and I feel like it was just kind of been the story of our season of how we're able to kind of lock in. And you know, most of the time it's kind of annoying because we kind of do it to ourselves,
right.
But I think I'm, you know, obviously just proud of the way that we fought back and were able to grind that out.
Sabrina, Stewie spoke to us about a moment, I think it was in the third quarter, where you put up this like circus behind your head shot and it didn't fall, and then you fell to the ground, and you know, you're a little frustrated, and Stewie was sort of like, you know, that was your time to reset. Can you just sort of take us through that whole moment there and how you were able to reset after that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I was more annoyed with the refs. I'm never one to complain about not getting a foul call in a game, but I mean, for as hard and physical as players play me, to not get one foul call until like the fourth quarter, I feel like is insane. So that's what I was annoyed with, and then you kind of realize you can't worry about the refs and the calls that they make, and just how to settle back in and realize I was getting good looks and not trying to force anything. And obviously I have a great role model to be able to watch with Stewie, who always does that. You know, she's always just like super composed, and whether the ball's not going in or things aren't going her way, she kind of just stays the course. And I kind of feel like I let out a little inner Stewie there, was able to just kind of keep my head down and grind away, chip away, and then it ended up going in for me.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
What do you think you guys are going to do? Because you guys always say like defense feeds your offense, but you know, these slow starts and finding yourself in double-digit deficits has become a trend this season. Just what really needs to change so you do lock in sooner, so you're not having to play catch-up?
Yeah, I mean, I think just the understanding of a lot of the time the decisions we make on the offensive end gives teams the upper hand on the defensive end, whether we're taking bad shots, turning the ball over, live ball turnovers, all that stuff kind of just trickles into us not locking in on the defensive end. And so I think we also just have to make sure when our offense is flowing, our defense is as well. But I think that's kind of part of our growth as well. We're never, I mean, there's going to be times where we're going to be up a lot and continue to keep the lead, but there's also going to be games where you got to find a way when you're down to kind of buckle down and get stops and see the ball go through. And for us, that happened late, and it's better late than never.
The Tosh Cloud post game today was kind of campaigning for KB to be in the 3-point contest. I mean, would you like to see her be part of the 3-point?
I would love it. Go KB. Yeah.
A few more?
Sabrina, in the second to last minute of the game, I believe, Coach Brondello took a technical foul protesting your offensive foul, and it was her first technical in nearly 2 calendar years. So what does it mean to have
my God.
your coach have your back like that?
Yeah, I mean, the ref apologized as well because he said he got fooled with the flop that Dearica Hamby had. I wish we would have been able to review it because I didn't touch her. But I think at that point in the game, I'm happy she kind of got fired up and took one. Obviously, the game was over, but we know she has our back. She's not really the one that gets technicals or yells at the ref, so maybe I'll pay her fine.
Did you hear what she said?
No.
Was it a word you don't want to repeat?
No, I don't even think. I think they might have been a little sensitive. I don't even think she's not really the one to come attack. And if she was yelling, you probably couldn't hear her because it's so loud in there. So, regardless, I mean, I think it's fine. See you, Leo. But it is what it is. We'll take the T as a team.
Check.
Sabrina, I'm curious, in the Phoenix and Atlanta game before this, it just seemed like you guys were struggling when it came to moving the ball and just getting multiple players to touch it. It seemed like tonight that changed. I'm just curious, what type of work was done in practice to sort of, get you guys back to who you are?
Yeah, I think it's understanding, obviously how teams are playing me because that's tough. When teams are trapping, denying, trying to get the ball out of my hand, I think there's a fine balance between understanding how I can be effective with the ball in my hand and then how I can also be effective without the ball in my hand off ball. And so there's kind of this dance that you play in terms of when teams are trying to junk things up, they go triangle and one, they're doing stuff to just not let me get the ball so then I can't initiate offense and I can't facilitate and get everyone going. And so it's kind of been a learning experience for us to figure out ways that we can continue to combat that. And I think we did well today. Obviously, they just switched everything, and that's something we hadn't really seen. And I think we're able to kind of settle in and see that. But obviously, it's still early on, so I think it's been great for us to see so many defenses because when it gets time to hit the playoffs and teams are going to be throwing all this, kind of junk defense out, it's like we'll be really well equipped to understand when teams are trying to take something away, this is how we're able to go out and execute.
Thanks, Seb.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you guys. Thank
Happy
you.
4th.
Happy